We've met all of the couples on MAFS UK 2023 now, and not all of them have endeared themselves to us. There are red flags aplenty being waved at the moment on the show. Here's who I think are the most problematic and unhinged stars from the show so far. Porscha Porscha, Porscha Porscha. The 35-year-old genuinely believes with her heart and soul that she's unproblematic. I'm sorry to say, Porscha, but you're one of the most problematic stars on the show, full stop. Porscha's ideal life would seemingly consist of having her husband pay for everything while she can stay at home and go to bed at 11 p.m. As she said during last night's show, she's never had a man split the bill with her before. It feels like Porscha wants everything handed on a plate to her, because, well, I'm not sure. She just seems to be very entitled and doesn't like being disagreed with. Fortunately, Terence doesn't seem to be putting up with her nonsense so far. Although, speaking of Terence, time to grow up a bit now. Hey Terence, you're 40 now. You don't need to be out partying every weekend. To be fair to Terence, being a DJ is his job, but the impression I got, and I'm sure many other viewers got, is that it's a bit more than just DJ'd for Terence. He seems to be a bit of a party boy too, which is always going to spell trouble. It doesn't feel like Terence is ready to settle down or compromise, which, technically, makes him pretty problematic. His confession last night about cheating in the past means my red flags are out for him too. I have a feeling he won't be behaving this series. MAFS UK 2023 star Peggy's behavior is a cause for concern initially. I liked Peggy. She seemed sweet and I was fully invested in her quest for love. However, after last night's drama, I've made a bit of a U-turn. Peggy came across a little unhinged, shall we say, last night. After asking George if he'd support her if she did OnlyFans, Peggy then flew off the handle when George said he would. It's important to note here that Peggy has no intention of making an OnlyFans. Yet she seemed to be furious that George would support her if she made one. I know. Baffling. Later on, she flew off the handle again when George spoke about his gaming channel. George spoke about some of the silly things he gets up to on the channel, which were very tame, by the way, but surprise, surprise, Peggy wasn't happy. Peggy tearfully told George that his gaming channel antics made her vulnerable, before storming off. Again, I'm currently waving numerous red flags and silently willing George to run. It's not going to end well. At all. 30-year-old George is another who just needs to grow up. His behavior during the first episode was just downright disturbing coming from a grown man, and his obsession with boobs was just weird. In all fairness to him last night, he came across a lot better, easy to when you're sharing the screen with Peggy. However, some of the comments he made about Peggy's looks made me feel a bit, His larger-than-life personality and cringeworthy comments will undoubtedly offend someone during the show, so he's definitely going to get the problematic label from me. Behave, George. Laura's behavior during the show hasn't necessarily been cause for concern, unless you're Arthur, but it hasn't sold her to viewers fully. Her obsession with getting herself a Chelsea boy will lead to trouble down the line, mark my words. The fact that she wasn't willing to give Arthur a chance either is a bit problematic too. The whole point of the show is to get to know a stranger, something she seemed very reluctant to do initially due to the fact that he doesn't drink champagne and eats oysters for lunch. The way that she was so angry over Arthur getting his vows off Google was a bit odd too. There will definitely be more drama to come with Laura on the show. Ella has already proven that she's quite the drama queen, arguing with Nathaniel not once, not twice, but 3 times during their honeymoon last week. Initially, Ella slammed her new beau for not acting as though he fancied her. Then she accused him of acting up for the cameras. Then, down by the beach, she hit him with the double whammy, that he wasn't acting like he fancied her and he was acting for the cameras. It didn't go down well. Now, it's being reported that Ella cheats on Nathaniel at some point during the show. If cheating isn't problematic and doesn't raise red flags, I don't know what will. Is MAFS UK 2023 star Nathaniel bad vibes? Since being on the show, Nathaniel has attempted to take control of the narrative, presumably before he became seen as the bad guy in his marriage with Ella. The star has hit out at MAFS, branding the show a sham, and accusing bosses of turning Ella into a monster. But Nathaniel, we all saw you lose your head in arguments and storm off. Rather than sitting and talking with his new wife, Nathaniel has twice stormed off now. Also, his anger at Ella being a stripper in the past seemed a little odd. His insistence on slamming the show and defending himself recently just makes me think that he is going to do something on the show in the coming days or weeks which will turn public opinion against him, hence why he's trying to get viewers on his side now. Honorable mention, Brad. I might be being harsh with this one, but there's just something about Brad that's raising red flags with me. The tattooed spiritualist and his new bride Shona have become very intense, very fast, and I think a lot of that is down to him. I've seen viewers accusing Brad of love bombing his new bride, which I can't help but agree with. His comments about being sexually adventurous last night set off some alarm bells. How adventurous are we talking, Brad? Bringing another bride into the bedroom, sort of adventurous? I feel like Brad will get bored of Shona pretty quickly, and it'll all end in tears. Not for Brad though, he'll be off with a new bride without giving Shona a second thought. Probably. Maybe.